guess this team needs change in some form or shape.
Well, we're going to have to see if Origin can overcome the struggles.
Can you imagine just how rough that must be for a team that has always been the 7th place team? We need to see how their mental fortitude will hold up.
It seems like Vitality is a team that is supposed to be in the top of the rankings.
All the games recently from Unicorns, it's like fight.
I've just really liked their growth and their ability to adapt to the meta.
Maybe Fnatic have higher their skill ceiling.
Sven and Mithy, probably the best bottom lane here in EU.
Kobe and Mickey are going to get to a point where they are the new Mithy and Sven.
You can't afford to lose anything. It's very, very close in the EULCS.
Double kill, triple kill, over to Freeze, and this is H2K's. He's alive, he's still shooting bullets, a triple kill to take out Sven.
European LCS. We are halfway through week 8 of the summer split, and teams are desperately trying to make it to the finals in Krakow or stay out of that relegation zone. As you can see, everybody's excited to be here today and excited to get inside. It is a simmering hot day outside in Berlin, and there are the Splice boys currently in second, looking to keep that and secure a semi-final bye. There are the Giants also looking to lock in their spot in playoffs, which would be monumental for these guys. Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Evie Schokke supporter. Joining me at the analyst desk tonight are Mitch Kreppel-Voorspoels and Martin de Fischo Lunge. The adrenaline is pumping because it was a good day yesterday.
I thought it was...
No, because we totally just spilled something and we were trying to get...
No,
no, that didn't happen.
I don't have sweat on my forehead. Trying to wipe everything off.
Sweat on your brow. Yesterday, super exciting day. Not a lot of ties, actually. Only 2-0s, so it means that the teams came to play and actually secured the 2-0s for the first time, all of them.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a lot of teams who seem to have learned how to close out games. We didn't have as many throws as maybe we've seen in the past. They give us a lot of 1-1s here and there. There were a few, maybe like Fnatic had one in game 1. Obviously, that wasn't too great.
Rocket was trying.
They were trying, but they
didn't enough to throw it all the way.
They didn't 100% manage. I also think Splice, by the way, the way they came back in that first game was... Yes, a mistake by Fnatic, but also an outplay on the side of Splice. Like, fantastic team fight from both Wunder and Sencooks, and then suddenly they win the fight and they're back into the game. So they deserved a 2-0.
And also interesting because some 0-2s aren't as grave as we had Vizicachi here. Said, yeah, we lost 0-2 to G2, but that is not as bad as if we would lose to a direct competitor for those spots right in the playoffs. Can you guys follow that kind of reasoning?
Yeah, everybody's just looking at each other, you know, and the relative rankings are getting super important. Those are also the stories like we need to tell right now. It no longer matters like this individual player is doing X or Y. No, it's all about, you know, where these teams end up in the race for playoffs, or if you are like Origin, in the race for not getting to relegation, so those championship points still stay valid.
Yeah, definitely, because if they end up in 7th, then they're all gone. Let's talk about the patch yesterday. Some strong performances, some strong champions. The Fisho called it. Fiora is back. She played in 5 games. She won all of those games.
It was a good intro yesterday where we talked about Fiora and how she's going to be a very strong pick now. Also because we have a lot of carry top laners here in Europe.
Yeah, very happy for you, the Fisho, that after your horrendous Lulu prediction.
No one heard that one anyway, but it's going to happen. Don't worry, Lulu will at some point be played in support. But another one was Sona we talked about. Very strong, obviously, in solo queue. I think in competitive play, a little bit too weak when it comes to mobility, too easy to gank it, TP on it, whatever it is specifically. It is strong in the laning phase, but it's not enough.
She's a better Sona, like, as she was before. Like, her gameplay, like, elements got buffed, but the problem is she still suffers from the same weaknesses. Another support that slightly got tweaked or kind of crept back into the meta was that Alistar. You know, saw it over in LCK a few times. Right now, it does seem that with the new build of going Ruby Stone into Talisman, you know, Talisman then 20% reduction on that activable cooldown seems to be favored by some of the more playmaking supports on these bottom tier teams. They also just want more proactivity, right? Like they want to make stuff happen, and it's easier to do that with champions like Alistar.
Yep, definitely. Let's take a look at the standings where they stand now. The teams halfway through week 8 of the summer split. As said, G2 is still in first, and Splice is now firmly in second and is 2 spots ahead of Fnatic, then HUK, Giants, Unicorns of Love. Schalke got a bit of a hit yesterday, and then of course Origin, Rocket, even Vitality fighting to be in playoffs and out of relegation.
And just from looking at the schedule or the standings right now, I wouldn't be surprised if this ended up being like the way the standings look after week 9 as well. The only one is kind of the Unicorns of Love, Vitality fight going on, because Schalke has been looking very bad. Lost obviously to Rocket yesterday. Giants have the easiest schedule of any team remaining as well, so you would assume they can lock in a playoff spot, and then suddenly it's Unicorns and Vitality fighting for that number 6.
Yeah, but that's if everything goes as planned. If you then look at, like, for example, how Schalke is only 3 points away from Origin. Origin only need like 1 major upset, and if Schalke can keep on tilting, perhaps, because like their mental stability doesn't seem to be all that high. You know, they lost convincingly game 1 due to some individual mistakes, and then they fell apart like a house of cards. Like that wasn't okay. There it is. It's on camera right now. Yeah, okay.
It's tilting.
They were literally tilting. 90 degrees tilt. You know, on the perfect horizontal.
I'm not jumping in. I'm just letting you dig here.
Yeah.
Anyways, Schalke's tilted. If Origin stops tilting themselves, they could actually make it to 7th. They're fine if they're 7th.
Yeah.
Problem is if they're 8th, because then they go to relegations or a promotion tournament, and that's where they lose their championship points.
Yeah, exactly.
But they play Fnatic today, so even with subbing in Xpeke, you shouldn't be able to get even just 1 point if you're Origin.
Fnatic
You shouldn't.
The tilting might be initiated yesterday. 0-2 loss versus Splice for Fnatic.
On paper, Fnatic should take this one 2-0 without any problems.
Hey, on paper, Rocket was going to lose 2-0 to Schalke.
Not as bad with Schalke being underperforming now for a few weeks.
This is also where like the end of split kind of madness kicks in, and those weird or things that you didn't expect do happen. So we'll see what happens today. Let's take a look at the schedule. Of course, H2K versus Splice will be first up in the arena. Giants will be taking on Vitality in the studio. What match are you guys most looking forward to?
For me, it's still Origin and Fnatic that I really want to see. I had a guy reach out to me yesterday. It's like, hey, Crepo, what's your opinion on Origin? I'm like, I'm going to be honest with you, bud, like, not that great right now. It's like, yeah, but do you not think they'll get the playoffs buff? I'm like, I hate to break it to you, buddy, but I don't think they're going to make playoffs at all.
Yeah.
So no playoff buff shall be had.
I agree. I don't think Origin is going to make playoffs. It would be a big surprise. Again, requires them to probably get points against Fnatic today. Another match was Vitality Giants playing over on EULCS2 as the first game. Because we talk about Giants, you know, like this is their last, like this is the toughest opponent they have left, because then they play like Schalke after, and they play like Origin as well. So Vitality, I feel like Vitality is the toughest of those teams. And if Giants are able to like lock in a 2-0 here, they basically guarantee their playoff spot. And while Vitality will still be outside of playoffs. So I think that game is super important.
I have a couple of facts for you. Of course, we will update you guys as we go. But G2, if they get a 2-0 and Fnatic gets a 1-1 or less, that means G2 has their hands on that semifinal bye. So that's a possibility. And the top 5 can all lock playoffs today, depending on results, but not the Unicorns of Love. They still have to do some other things. And if Rocket lose 1 game, they are definitively mathematically out of playoffs. But as said, they're probably not aiming for that.
But yeah, mathematically, technically speaking, Division can still make Challenger, but like we're not waiting for that one to happen either.
Move on, please.
Moving on. For HUK versus Splice, make sure your browser is pointed at EULCS1. For those of you guys on EULCS2, we're going to send it to the studio for a look at Giants versus Vitality. We'll catch up with you guys a little bit later.
Thank you very much, Sharks. Welcome to the EULCS2 studio. As we open the doors and the teams are set up on stage, I'm Trevor Quickshot Henry.
I'm James Stress O'Leary, and as you said, the teams, Giants and Vitality, they're getting ready right over there as we get ready to head into the games.
It seems like this desk brings out the creative introductions.
Challenger, we had people hitting their heads on the desk,
trying to come from
Hobbiton. It was great.
I think Lolly Sports actually gifted. Sifa's still got a bump. Let's talk about the teams on stage. Giants yesterday, 2-0 of Origin. I think the whole team played well, but let's start with Smitty J. He had some fantastic Fiora performances, and as a team, they just look better.
I mean, if ever you look at a meta and you look at a player like Smitty J, he's been known time and time again for these kind of picks, the Fiora, which can just take over the entire game, give him an inch, and he will take a mile from you in that setting. And of course, it fits in multiple triple kills, like multiple multi-kills, all of the time, right before this Baron. Just made such an easy game for Giants. Granted, they were significantly far ahead by the time this already happens. You can see he's already 4-0.
So he starts the fight 3-0-4 with a 6k team gold lead, and then literally just runs away with. The thing is, though, that play looks good, But Knight and Sunstar also stepped up. Sunstar maybe has had more criticism this split than Knight, but as a team, they're utilizing both of the resources much better.
They are, and honestly, when we look at Sunstar, he's one of these AD carries that coming into the split, we were like, they're not really doing too much right now. We don't know where to rate them. But slowly but surely, as the meta has kind of shifted away, we've gone a little bit more towards utility, perhaps. This is where Sunstar has really come into his own. You can see 8-0 and 10 from yesterday's games. I mean, both of these players have started coming into their own as this split has gone on.
Absolutely. And yesterday, Smitty J and Maxlaw were talking to the fact that they're communicating better and, learning English a little bit more as the weeks go on. So Giants, you have to consider the favorites in this matchup against Vitality. Vitality fell apart yesterday. I wasn't a major fan of the draft. I think they got pulled to pieces. And the problem here is Vitality have had multiple weeks back to back to back where this has been the case.
Yeah, it has been the case. And they were one of the only teams that we saw playing the Sona yesterday. We saw Kasing bring that out. It's a pick that he's tried playing in the past and isn't a bad pick right now. Obviously, it got buffed fairly significantly, but the Vitality composition yesterday had a lot of different bits and pieces that never really kind of came into one unit, right? They had some disengage, they had some engage, they had some cross-map potential, but it wasn't quite as consistent for what Vitality needed to do. And up against the likes of H2K, H2K were just going to say, okay, well, we'll just draft what we want and we'll go up against you, no problems.
And that's exactly what happened. H2K took them down 2-0. I want to highlight the teams that Vitality still have to play this split with their strength of schedule. So they played H2K yesterday and lost. They got Giants today, G2 next week, and then Schalke. I mean, in my mind, the only point-scoring opportunities is now Giant and Schalke.
Yeah, and honestly, like, Schalke should be the real point-scoring opportunity from here. Giants, considering their form yesterday against a team that's in the mix with Vitality right now for those bottom-of-the-table standings, I feel like Giants are probably a beast a little too tough to handle for Vitality. But nevertheless, we'll as we go into the game, take a look at that and see whether Vitality can step it up.
I agree. I want to break down a little bit more of what those points mean as well looking forward. But before that, and before we get into picks and bans, let's take a closer look at the teams. Starting on the blue side, in their home colors, it is the Gigantes with Smitty J in the top lane, Maxlaw in the jungle, Knight the mid laner, Sunstar the ADC, hustling his support, and Lozark the coach on stage. Pretty happy with their 2-0, pretty happy with their 6 series wins, and I'll tell you why that's important later.
Yeah, we'll get into why that's important, but on the red side of the rift, no slip-ups on the verbiage today for that one for me. In the top lane, it's Cabo Shah, jungle is Shook, mid lane is Nukeduck, AD carry is Police, support Kasing, and their coach is Shawns.
Now, Shawns and the rest of Vitality currently tied in 7th place. That means it's the safe spot. But obviously, one step down, you go promotion tournament, one step up, you go playoffs. The thing is, they're only on 16 points. 3 series wins, 7 draws. So they need to get 2 O's to put themselves closer to that running, that 18, 19, 20 point bracket, which is where the top 6 are currently playing with.
Yeah, and that, honestly, we're starting to get to a point where those match wins are so incredibly important. You went through it yesterday with the Telestrator segment talking about how the ties are going to be broken. When you look at match wins, and it's head-to-head, then it's a best of one. So there's a lot in these weeks leading up that can affect your ultimately tied position standings, at least.
And interestingly, Giants are actually in one of the best positions because of the teams in that kind of like tight race, they've got 6 series wins, which is more than anybody around them. So if Giants can do another 2-0 today, and almost, as DeFisher was alluding to, guarantees playoffs. Picks and bans, 6.14 is the patch we're playing on. We are playing on pre-hotfix Sona, and Kennen is disabled. That is important because Kasing has played Sona, and Cabo also has played Kennen.
It's like a buff to Vitality, but apparently also a nerf at the same time. So we are having a lot of presence taken out of this game when you look at the jungles. Nidalee not available for Maxlaw. GP and Shen now taken away. Of course, we saw the Shen come out yesterday from Vitality, one of the only teams really to get their hands on it. We've seen a lot of Shen bans recently.
Yeah, the additional power of that Stand United with TP nerfs that came in a couple patches ago, making him so much more valuable. As Vitality are actually slowing down the bans here, really taking their time. Big smiles though on the players' faces, which is good to see. Malzahar, Olaf taken off the table. So still just these power picks that we are seeing more and more frequently in Europe.
Yeah, a lot of them taken off, but this Malzahar we saw yesterday, I believe, coming out of Knight, or at least we've seen it from just everybody in general, has started picking up this Malzahar. Blind pickable, very good. We definitely saw it yesterday from Senka, because he had a massive performance on that for Splice in there. Potential upset win over Fnatic, but there's an important pick off the board. Fiora no longer available for the top lane, leaves us with Elise, Nidalee, Karma. Not Nidalee, Rek'Sai, Karma has those first pickable champions, but it's none of them.
Gragas first pick, over and above everything else. You know, I guess that's actually not terrible. It is one of Maxwell's most played champions. Denies that from Shook as well, which is currently his most played. And I guess it doesn't reveal anything, right?
One of the most interesting things about yesterday's games, when you look at these two teams and the games they actually played, Gragas was played in all of them, and Rek'Sai, despite being banned in one, was not played in any.
Yeah.
So was available and was picked. The Gragas was picked over. So maybe those changes to the vision that Rek'Sai has, I don't think that is significant enough on its own to be a change, but maybe we're seeing a jungle meta shift entirely right now.
The problem is, even though the numbers may not be big enough, pro players may not agree with that statement. Because so often you hear pro players have this like major reaction to some tweaks and some changes. Because, of course, we cast the match of the week yesterday, and Trashy elected to go Gragas as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this match, though, because Siva and Vladimir have been locked in for Vitality. That's already a good combination of champions. You've got good wave clear, you've got good scaling, you've got some utility as well.
It's funny, you were privy to a conversation that I had with Vedius yesterday after some of the games were finished, talking about Engage and how compositions work. So Siva Vladimir is going to be able to at least close the distance very well right now, but actually holding Giants in place could be a more difficult affair. You look at the Gragas, you now look at the Lucian, the Trundle, both champions that can disengage from fights fairly effectively. So I wonder what Vitality are going to round this out with, and surprisingly, Karma has fell so far down this list of picks and bans. This would be support Karma, and Vlad would be going mid if it's locked in.
Absolutely the case, and it's going to bring some of that soft engage to team fights with some situational CC.
I hope Vedius is listening to this stream.
I believe he's casting on the other one, actually, so we'll have to remind him.
True.
But for Vitality, as you mentioned, most likely the support, you'd expect support and jungler to be locked in here and leave the top lane for counterpick.
If this Tom Kenchka's locked in as well, I swear Vitality were listening in on our conversation. Talking about how different crowd control-less champions can facilitate Engage was the way I put it yesterday. So we're still looking for the lock-ins. As you said, I'm expecting a counterpick for top lane, which would leave us with the Elise or the Rek'Sai coming out here for the jungle.
And it is the Rek'Sai last second swap over. So Shook will verify the Queen of the Xerxai. Still going to be relevant. I quite like this, though. You've got a lot of mobility in the Siva and the Karma. You've now got some fairly reliable CC from Rek'Sai in frontline. And it just depends which direction they want to go. If they want a 4-1 or 1-3-1 or similar.
The next best thing that Vitality can do here is lock in a Gnar if Trundle reveals to be top lane, because you have a decent matchup when it comes to being in mini Gnar form. Yes, Trundle has strength against Mega Gnar, but typically you win the matchup enough to be able to put up with that. Smitty J, we've also seen a bunch of Trundle from him. It is his most played champion if they lock it in. So could be a potentially good matchup for Vitality up in that top lane. Gives them follow-up engage, but if Giants take it away from them, suddenly we don't have a lot of options available.
That's right, actually, because Trundle, of course, is just going to flex down to support.
There is one further option after that, and that would be locking in Irelia for Cabochard. Irelia into Gnar is a decent matchup if they wanted to go for it. You can punish Gnar very hard by actually catching up with him, but it's not going to be the case. Because is this Giants of 2016 we're looking at, or is this Giants of 2015 right now? Because that's a Jax.
It's been the case the whole time. Yeah. Smitty J's had 4 games on Jax, 2 wins, 2 losses. And he's actually been quite outspoken about the champion in particular, just saying how much he enjoys playing Jax. But what does Cabo run? Do you still consider the Irelia? You've got an earlier spike, but a sharper drop-off.
That's the thing, is it's like a tough matchup after Jax starts being able to actually deal. We have seen the likes of Rumble come in against the Jax, anybody that can kind of trade with him effectively earlier on in the game, but it's Cabochard, so not always a proponent of those AP team fighters. He's played the cannon, but it's disabled for now. I'm interested to see what his pick is now into it. That really is possible. It's a skill matchup.
It's a brave call, though, because if Cabo and Shook are not able to get ahead of Smitty and Maxlaw, this Jax could become a major, major thorn in their side.
But let's look at the timings now of when Giants are going to look to get into this game. Jax later in the game, Kassadin later in the game. Everything is built towards snowballing a game later off your side lanes. So if Giants can get into that position, it is still possible for them. But for Vitality, Irelia will get into it a little bit quicker when you hit that Triforce. They've got a Vlad that should be able to hold his own as well. And from there, Sivir Karma you basically can never kill. So a lot of interesting setups here. Although Trundle into Sivir, kind of decent in that bottom lane. We'll talk about that when we hit the Rift.
The thing I like about these team compositions, both of them have the ability to completely run away with the game if they get themselves in the lead. You know, if you have a Kassadin, Trundle, Jax, Gragas running at you, they can win. And similar, vice versa for Vitality. Sean's and Lozark shaking hands. This early game is going to be exciting because I genuinely feel like these champions or these compositions can just snowball away. We'll see whether or not Giants can keep it up. Hashtag GIA win. If you think they will be able to maintain control of 5th place, maybe even look higher in the standings if they get themselves a 3-pointer.
If they can. That's the all-important question as we head closer and closer to playoffs, closer and closer to the promotion tournament as well. So being in the danger zone of 8th, 9th, and 10th is not a good spot to be in right now.
Nobody wants to be in the danger zone as Vitality and Giants load up for Game 1 here in EULCS2.
Well, I know if there's one person I got to be careful saying that phrase with on the casted desk, it's you, Trevor.
Oh, yes.
So,
oh, yes. I've got a little bit of sterling in me, you know what I mean? But, and I'm not talking about the British currency.
I was going to say, because it's not doing too well right now, Trevor, so we probably want to leave that one somewhere else.
Somewhere else, indeed. But the terrifying thing is, there's only 3 game days left of the summer split.
Yeah.
Today, next week Saturday, next week Sunday. Reminder, week 9, we are playing on Saturday and Sunday. We'll talk about that in a second. Oh, there's just some poke on the Sunstar.
Huston's there too. It's all good. Everything fine. But after seeing everybody, it looks like Vitality are now going to draw their duo lane up, try and push into the jungle on the bottom side at least, try and force Knight away. Doesn't really result in too much after that, but they did get a ward down. And there you see the keystones, as always.
Yeah, nothing too surprising here. I want to talk about opening items, though, because Knight has opted for a Dark Seal.
Yep.
Triple Biscuit. Do you like that start? What's your opinion?
The reason for this is Kassadin's fairly safe. Dark Seal is no longer a greedy start when you look at, ooh, he's going for Medjay. Not the case. You can end up buying a Corruption Potion, utilize that to get more effective trades when you look at effective health coming from health potions. So he should be better off and just be able to sustain himself. It's against a Vladimir. It's not really going to be a lane that he's pushed out too heavily in. He can get pushed in. And there is the potential for Nukeduck to look for slight plays like that, but Kassadin should be fairly fine. He's got teleport. It allows him to trade and then come back to the lane very quickly.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Double teleports on the side of Giants, only the single on the side of Vitality. Yet another tool in the Giants playbook to maintain a lead, if and when they get one, of course. Yeah. But looking down the bottom lane, Sunstar's been pushed in very heavily. Relic Shield's going to help catch up in terms of the CS, but no real surprises here. Range support into melee, plus the wave clear from Sivir. This was always going to be a rough early opening levels for the Giants duo.
Yeah, results in the level 2 going over to Vitality off that minion. The one thing that Giants will have in their favor is Lucian good into Sivir, as is Trundle. Lucian has a lot of trading potential in short bursts, and Trundle can always use that pillar, and you kind of stare at it with a spell shield on and say, why didn't that do anything? Just a very frustrating setup. So there's the potential for Giants to run away with this bottom lane matchup against Vitality, Sivir, and the Karma, but it's very difficult to kill a Karma lane. That Prey Seeker was close.
Little close.
Like, did that Prey Seeker come 1 second later from Shook? Possible steal.
Well, luckily we can actually see the players from the caster desk. Maxlaw terminates a face on, despite the pressure from Shook. Takes a furious bite to the bottom, and Maxlaw walks away. I would like to take a look at the top lane, because Cabo's already built himself up a CS advantage, level 3 v level 3. And in my mind, this is the lane matchup that tilts the game in favor of who's going to be the eventual victor.
Yeah, especially if Maxlor can actually get into the lane. There is, however, a ward. Stun lands onto Cabo.
Oh, Cabo's sticking around. Body slam, flashes away from the barrel. Cabo's on the wrong side of the rift. Does not get first blood. Maxlor picks it up.
Cabo saw Maxlor on the ward coming up to the top side and did not flash away from the counter-strike when the leap strike came in. Really weird play from Cabochard to just kind of take that. I'm very surprised that he missed that window. There's only one reason that a Jax is going to go aggressive on you that early, and that is if the jungle is there.
Yep.
That's a misread by Cabochard. He could have escaped that.
And unfortunately, gives up first blood. Full value first blood as well to Maxlor in the jungle. The assist goes over to Smitty J. We just caught a glimpse of him teleporting back to lane. I don't think it's enough to tilt the matchup in favor of Smitty yet, but that is a good start here for Giants.
So observers are going to show us vision, and there's a moment there perhaps where Cabo can't quite escape it as Smitty J was moving forward in the lane, but you always got to look at that situation. It's like you're pushed up. How is that actually going to be maintained with that kind of push without getting exposed?
As soon as we jump out of the shots there, those are live shots of Cabochard and Smitty currently farming their way up. And we see a potential gank here from Shook. Vitality Knight, no Riftwalk available, flashes up. Looking in the jungle, support's coming from Maxlor over on the western side of the screen. Fires enough time, body slam available, manages to find two. The barrel slows down Shook, and Maxlor's in the right place at the right time to save Knight's life.
Yeah, good counter gank by Maxlor, and Knight actually picking the route that normally wouldn't make a lot of sense, running towards the enemy base, but he knew that with Nuktuk having already popped his ghost, he's at least getting the flash from this if he ends up dying, and Shook can't close the gap without flashing himself, so without any crowd control here, very difficult to engage on a Kassadin, even pre-6. I mean, Kassadin has no mana, even if he hits 6 there, it's very tough for him to get away. Didn't even use his flash.
So, very clever play then by Knight and Maxlor. Maxlor was the guy who was telling me yesterday in the interview that the communication ability between the imports is working in their favor. Maxlor and Shook still fighting over that Raptor. That went on for about 20 seconds, but the message has been delivered. It was Maxlor's jungle camp.
Yes, and Shook has had the time to back. Maxlor hasn't, and is still down on experience, just from how he's been going about the lanes, looking to counter gank, rather than actually farm, looking for extra damage.
Luckily for Maxlor, after first blood, he was able to pick up that Tracker's Knife, so already, you know, ahead in terms of clear power. Smitty's still in a little bit of pressure. Look at this, down nearly 20 CS, but that's 2 and a bit waves in front of him. So, going to be under some pressure, but Maxlor waiting in the shadows, waiting in the wings.
This is weird timing for Shook to have been top, because the way it was pushing out, only if Smitty J felt like he would be able to get a kill in that lane and move up past, but you look at the minion wave in front of him, there was no way he was going to trade into that. No way was he going to take all of that aggro and push forward, but nevertheless, that was where Shook ended up. He's now kind of lost out on some of that experience edge that he had, and is now about even with Maxlor.
Yeah, despite having first blood, Giants are even on gold. They're down in CS in the top lane, down in CS in the mid lane. They were down in CS down bottom, but you can see the wave is being pushed towards Police, so he should be able to get ahead once again. Police opting for the Cull versus the Dirk on the side of Sonstar and Giants. My producer didn't appreciate that his name is Dirk, so...
I was going to say, I feel bad for Dirk,
yeah,
that he's being passed over.
The person, not the item, right? What are you feeling bad for here?
Just that he was passed over.
Well,
it's
down
okay.
bottom, the culling gets thrown out for a Sonstar. Kasing takes a beating as he peels away. That sends Sonstar and Hustlin not really going to get away with that thing.
So you asked me a little bit about Dark Seal
Yes.
earlier on. Now that we've hit 6, or post-6, for Kassadin, it actually kind of can become a very efficient item here, because it's difficult to get the stacks off of Kassadin. Generally, Kassadin just ends up not dying a lot during a game. He's got the Catalyst now, so it's still about sustain, but is also now about getting a little bit of AP generation at the same time. You know, the mana, everything that goes along with the Dark Seal.
Especially when you consider Vitality don't have the safest, like, engage options. If Vitality want to engage, they are throwing Rek'Sai, Irelia, Vlad at you. Now, that is a terrifying thing when you actually say it out loud.
Yeah.
But if Vitality pick the wrong fight, and they don't kill the targets or don't kill the damage dealers, they could find themselves in hot water very, very quickly.
Yeah, hot water. Sorry, I don't know why that always like makes me think, because how do you just find yourself in hot water? Like,
good point.
It's not like you wake up and you go, whew, hot water everywhere.
Maybe you're near a volcanic something or other.
Oh no, hang on, because now you're reminding me of Dante's Peak, that film with Pierce Brosnan where they go in the hot springs.
Don't know.
I
didn't watch much Pierce Brosnan. He wasn't high on my tier list of 90s actors I was interested in.
At least I haven't seen Mamma Mia, but you know, the Bond films, that's where we'll go with that. But the TLDR is people go into hot springs and it's hot water because it's a hot springs.
It's in the title.
Yeah. Don't go in hot springs if you don't know what's in there. Could be volcano.
Okay, could be volcano. And then Pierce Brosnan makes more terrible movies. But it wasn't the case. Standard laning continues here. 10 minutes up. Vitality have farmed a very small lead. And despite Maxwell's gank up top, Smitty J still in trouble. Down 24 CS. Phage versus Sheen, although this will close up a little. Cabo's in a decent spot, but I don't think this is enough of a lead just yet. Sorry. I do that all the time. Sorry.
It's okay. The Olympics is coming up. We'll get to see a couple more, you know, acrobatic fails. Maybe not from somebody with that low dexterity, but bottom lane.
A little bit of a challenge.
This one he gets.
Maxlaw's going to pick a fight here with Shook. Smites are available for both. The blue Sentinel down to elite hit points as it continues to drop ever lower. Maxlaw decides to engage, flash away from Shook. Look at the minimap, everyone's coming to play. Maxlaw's going to smite away the blue buff. Nuketak looking for a fight, but he's surrounded by 3 giants. Sanguine Pool will buy some time. The culling was already used. Flash forward, or the Rift walk forward from Knight. Exhaust comes down, the target Shook. He can't flash because he's done that already. Nuketak's looking for more, but the barrel slows him down. Giants get blue buff and a kill.
Yeah, only 1 kill in that exchange. It looked to have been on Nukeduck first because of how surrounded he was, but Shook ended up the wrong side of the wall, and then an explosive cast keeps him in place for the rest of Giants to pick up the kill. But Cabo used his TP during that. Smitty J nor Knight, and as I say that Knight uses his, had used their TP. So TP advantage does go over to Giants right now, but Knight is going to be able to close a little bit of the farm gap between himself and Nukeduck by getting some alone time in lane.
Yeah, and I think it's even more important that Smitty J is doing the same thing.
Yes.
Cabo TP'd away to get nothing. No assists, no additional plays. Keep an eye on your minimap at just how quickly the Giants members begin surrounding.
Also, how slowly Cabo actually commits to this TP and the area in which he can come in. Look on your screen, there is actually not a lot of opportunity for him to teleport into this fight at any point, and he's dropped back because he's trying to make the decision of whether he farms here or whether he TPs. And the way that Smitty J pulls back in the lane and does not give him vision means that Cabochard is forced to make a decision at that point. Smitty J knows he's never TPing to that fight. Cabochard TPs down. Now it slightly evens up the lane in favor, but Vitality very quickly turning that on its head. They're going to put their dual lane up into the top side and look to shove that tower in, while Smitty J was trying to recall and base at that point.
I think that's fairly clever, because Vitality are going to opt into this trade. It looks like Giants will be able to get an additional dragon, but it's Ocean Drake, not the most pivotal at this point in time. But more importantly, I like the fact they're accelerating Cabo shots. Trinity Force, maybe getting Police a little closer to that Essence Reaver. And then once they hit that 1 and 2 item spike, Vitality can, well, they have to take control of the game. If they don't, they're going to get run away from.
I don't know whether I want to give the Rift Herald over here if I'm on Giants right now, because Cabochard, if he gets that, could be particularly strong out on Nukeduck again.
No flash, no ghost because of the fight. Body slam forward, Nukeduck will Sanguine Pool to buy a few seconds longer. Rift Herald is picked up at the cost of Nukeduck's life. Just a little out of position, not expecting the follow-up CC from Giants.
How much more can Giants get from this, though? Can they push the mid lane through? Likely not, with Sivir there and the fact that the tower is full health. But Giants are setting up to go for this.
Look at Maxlaw coming from behind. Body slam, he's found Kasing. Send Police away. Kasing flashes over the wall. The barrel will not connect with him, though. And Shook's able to arrive in time. Tower still untouched.
one of the things here that actually makes Giants a little safer when it comes to this Kassadin pick is the fact that Nukeduck has not been really able to push up too much to the turret. He's got a little bit of damage down, but it's not like Giants have been punished for this later scaling team. Look at the turret health right now. So as Nukeduck pushes forward in the lane, Nukeduck is able to push forward and is able to keep going on to this. As Giants continue for this fight, are able to take it down. As I got a little confused because I could still hear you in my head there, Trev.
Really? My bad.
Yeah, I don't know whether that was that you weren't pressing the button or whether you weren't. The crowd now looking at me like I'm crazy because I've got voices in my head.
Probably just in the headset. I was just asking a question to our stats team.
No, it's fine. I heard the question. I was just like, I was like looking over to see whether you pressed the button enough. It's okay.
All right, I'll use a different button next time. Make sure that I'm not talking, whispering sweet nothings in your ear.
I legitimately have no idea what I just said. Like, I know that happens a lot, but that one, I'm like, I really don't know. That words came out, you know that old video of Riv where he's at like Season 1 Worlds and he's talking and everyone's like, he's just saying words that don't fit together. That's how I just feel. Yep,
that's what happens when you have that additional voice in your head that's not allowing you to focus on your points. But we're getting to 15 minutes here, Stress, and Trinity Force completed for Cabo. Spirit Visage completed for Nukeduck. Police still waiting for his first big upgrade. But the main things here is that they've become online. Smitty J, no Triforce. Roa, only just starting to stack for Knight. So the amount of damage and combat power that Vitality will bring to the table is going to be higher. Unfortunately, it won't matter when Cabo Shard face checks, gets caught out. Sunstar comes over the wall. There is a flash available. How many follow? Maxwell goes over. The Culling picks up the kill.
Easy kill for Giants as a group 4 in the top side. Now mid lane pushes on from Vitality with Police. I don't think Sunstar and Huston can actually get here in time. There's still enough minions here. This is going to fall just before they actually get into the lane.
Yeah, it will at least allow Vitality to stay relevant in the gold. But that was just gutsy pathing from Cabo. There was no vision in the river. You can see no Vitality wards. A couple of tunnels laying around, but that's not going to give you anything unless Giants kill a tunnel. And at the end of the day, Giants take an additional tower. So they trade towers, but Giants get the kill as well.
Yep, Giants come out way ahead on that one. Still just under 2,000 gold ahead in this game. And, you know, that's pretty much fine for their composition that they want. I mean, they've got this later scaling. If they're ahead at any point, they're like, great, we can just hold this lead, and at some point we'll take control. So as long as Giants don't make too many mistakes, they should be able to hold a lead and then transfer that into very strong solo laners. Rod of Ages is, as you said, already stacking. Trinity Force complete for Jax. We're an item away for seeing exactly how he's going, although it looks like maybe Sterix is the next item. There's a lot of options from Longsword, Ruby Crystal, but he is not opting towards Blade of the Ruined King at the moment. Maybe opting a little bit towards tank.
I hope not.
I hope not as well.
I like 2 damage Jax. I like split push Jax, especially when you have 2 teleports on your team.
You got Kassadin in the other lane. It's just like, we got one dueler that's very good at taking people on, and now we've got a second.
The one thing that is very true, though, is that we've not necessarily mentioned, the wave clear from Giants isn't the greatest. You know, they're very reliant on the culling. So if Giants are even in a position where they have to, you know, play backwards, play defensive, it could be a little frustration. Sunstar, he cares not for the culling cooldown. Every time we see him, he's just throwing it out for some of that poke, throwing it out for some control.
Just get it out there, make sure you can push another wave back, doesn't matter which one it is, just keep on going. They want bottom lane, though, for a second. And Giants actually had the opening for it if they wanted to rush down bottom and take out Nukeduck, but maybe they were thinking that he would have taken too much of their time up. Oh, Sunstar.
Very good flash away. Chilling Smite was thrown down. Near instant teleport from Smitty J. The barrel locks no one from Vitality down. Knight and Smitty J have arrived. It was a double teleport. That is so worth for Vitality right now if they can somehow defend this tower.
Yeah, as long as they can hold here, they've reduced a lot of what Giants bring to the table. Cabo goes forward, but I don't think they actually want the engage. They just want to clear this wave and deny Giants any kind of push on the tower.
Yeah, look at the side lanes. Giants had set that up relatively well. Both Smitty and Knight were pushing top and bottom respectively. A very, very good play from Vitality. Even though it doesn't net kills, it gets those 2 crucial summoner spells.
Yes, it gets the summoners, gets the teleports. Now Smitty and Knight can't play out on the side lane quite as safely. Ocean Drake is the next one, and as we say that, it is spawning. As Giants finally found the time for mid.
Yeah, should be able to take the tower down. Hustling in a little bit of trouble. Exhaust is used. He's already flashed. Maxwell coming forward. Teleport from Cabo. Summon a heal. Will keep Hustling alive for a few seconds longer with the help of Subjugate. Knight is now on the hunt, looking for a target. If Vitality overstep, that could be Knight's way in. Tremor Sense will reveal Knight's positioning. Remember, it reveals 1.5 second intervals now instead of 0.75. Hustling has decided not to back, and the Ocean Drake is the target. Looking at spells. Explosive cast for Maxwell is going to come up in a second or two. Dragon down to 1700. Knight may want to jump forward. Looking for the steal. It's stolen. Giants get Ocean number 2. Now they're getting away with their lives.
Getting away, Smitty J jumps himself away too, and everybody from Giants gets out every single time there's one of these trades. It's going over to the Giants time and time again. They are, however, still down CS in their solo laners for now, which means they do have to wait a little longer until they can have their full strength of their team composition. But right now, Vitality are struggling to hold on to any kind of objective as soon as Giants show up. So as you can see, here was the beginning of this fight. They were on a ward as Smitty J jumps back into the bush for a moment there. But Maxwell comes in, easy smite away. And Shook couldn't really contend with that. Can't really catch up with anybody else. Giants get themselves away.
Just really good play with a team composition that, in my mind, I mean, look, there is scaling on the side of Vitality. You can't disregard that, especially when somebody has a Vladimir. But when you have options to deal with Vladimir, with Jax, with Cassidy that can play side lanes, with teleports, and a 2,000 gold lead, and 2 dragons, and an extra tower, and 4 kills, like, it's been the Giants' show.
It has, and that is a tidal wave of like objectives and just everything that Giants have that you're laying out there, Trev. But,
yes.
We'll see with the next Mountain Drake coming up in about 5 minutes here, where the Giants can extend to 3 dragons, but it's a long, long way off for them right now. Their next priority really is strengthen this Jax. Kassadin is at an okay point. We're getting closer and closer to that Morellonomicon point. Helps with the mana regen and those kind of things. From there, Giants, if they can get Jax in and that Kassadin, that's the game point for them. They already know that they basically have won the game if they play it out properly.
Yeah, with the tools they have, for sure. There's no argument there. Giants just need to make sure they play those side lanes correctly. Maybe don't pull Jax into team fight would be a good lesson to be learned.
Sterix, I'm not a fan. But I get, so Sterix isn't necessarily a team fighting item, it kind of is, but not necessarily. Is it up against an Aurelia, if she trades heavily into you, obviously, then Sterix will pop and you'll be able to trade it back. Typically Blade of the Ruined King, so it allows you to stick on people, gives you lifesteal, attack speed, like everything Jax wants comes from Blade of the Ruined King if you're playing out in the side lane. But right now he's not even up against the Aurelia, so I guess doesn't really matter for him.
Yeah, Aurelia has picked up some armor as the first, secondary item, that Warden's Mail. So I guess Knight will be pretty happy with that. He can deal with Cabo Shot, and he's not really a threat of being caught out. Shook's deciding to engage. He has Nukejax coming in from the side. Sunstar's still got Flash available. Hustling in trouble. Subjugate will buy some time. A few seconds before his Flash comes up. It does not, and Hustling is down. And Vitality get their first kill of the game.
Yeah, finally getting themselves on the board when it comes to kills. It's taken a long time for Shook to have any kind of impact really in this game. Vitality are going to speed themselves up towards mid turret. Nobody is here, and we already talked about how low the wave clear is, but Vitality already a little bit spooked in this scenario. Sunstar does have the culling, was able to, or would have been able to clear it out if Vitality had continued to push, but Giants knew they were getting work done on the side lanes. Top lane pushed out, bottom lane pushed out, everything about those side waves away from the Giants' base makes it difficult for Vitality not to get flanked off the 2 wards that are in the river and the entrances to the jungle, so double TPs could easily have come through from that.
Yeah, very defensive wards from Vitality, very pretty deep actually on the Baron side jungle wards for Giants. And that's a good sign in terms of a team with 2 teleports. I would like him to maybe try and punish opportunities, but Vitality have been playing so defensive. Yeah, there's not been aggressive TP opportunities just yet.
There is one ward that actually is fairly smart out from Vitality that is offensive, and that is the ward that is in between top and mid lane that is kind of just at their base entrance. What that does is spots whether Sunstar is coming from top to mid or whether Smitty J is coming from top to mid without using teleport. It gives Vitality extra time to react, whether it comes to whether they're about to wave clear, whether they're about to engage, anything like that. It just gives them extra couple of seconds on that decision.
Yeah, a few seconds extra. Talking about a few seconds, LowSox taking some notes, obviously. Pretty happy with where the Giants find themselves at the moment, but they are far from safe. Needing some additional points. Police, also very far from safe. Got himself a Phantom Dancer second item, which I like when you're dealing with a Jackson and Cassidy. You want to throw themselves on you, it'll give you some additional time to just stay alive and back away. But he's going to be jumped on a whole lot once these bigger team fights break out.
And that's the thing, he's got to then hit everybody before he is able to get that damage reduction coming through. But he's a Sivir, so that's not exactly the hardest thing in the world for them. But for Giants right now, they just want to keep this slow pressure building against Vitality. You can see Smitty J started to take over now that he's passed 2 items up in CS, has that extra kill and the assist. But from there, Giants are going to play this one slow.
So Baron is where this game will get broken open. That's I'm going to make a bold call here. I'm going to make a bold call that a team's going to make a Baron play, and whoever comes out ahead in that Baron play is going to win the game.
Wow.
I know.
That's
next level.
That's some analysis.
Next level.
I love that. That's good.
Because like neither of these teams have pushed to these inner turrets at all.
That's very true. Sorry, that was a little more patronizing than I thought. Somebody's going to think that I hate you.
But you do. I mean, look, it's fine. Okay, we're professional colleagues here. We don't.
Wow. Okay. I see how it is.
All right, Dragon.
Spreading lies.
Do you think Vitality's going to get this one, Stress?
Where should? No, he's even backing away to mid lane. So Vitality not going to be able to get in on that. There's the mountain we were talking about. Vitality look like they're trying to bait up towards Baron a little bit, clear out some of the vision, but they actually can't maintain this area because there's just, quite frankly, too many wards behind them, too much on the map for Giants to actually utilize. Vitality can hold it for now, apparently. Smitty J is pushing down in the bottom side. That is what is giving Vitality this time around the Baron.
Yeah, low risk plays really from Giants. They didn't go to check for the Baron, had vision just in front of the pit, so they knew Vitality weren't on it. Quick reminder again, guys, bottom left of your screen, next week's LCS will be Saturday and Sunday. Just trying to make sure the word gets out there. And for Giants, they're trying to make sure they don't mess up the game. They've got Cassidy with Morello's, fully stacked Roa, got a single stack on that Dark Seal. Actually under a little bit of trouble. Knight's going to be potentially going down here. He's going to Rift Walk to safety. Nuke Duck able to get barreled to safety, riding that one out. But that was good to see, actually, for Vitality's sake. Nuke Duck able to 1v1 Knight at this point in time.
Yeah, at this point, we didn't quite catch the lead up to it, so I wonder whether Knight was overextending, maybe into minions, taking a lot of damage, hadn't backed in a while. There's a possibility, because he has now backed and spent a bunch of money, so there is the chance that he was low health already, but you are right, looking at the end result of that trade. Nuke Duck certainly came out ahead from it, but Giants won't be too unhappy about that scenario. Would like to see maybe a little bit more magic resist come out from Giants. Not a whole lot for them right now. And this Vlad may actually become problematic the longer this game goes.
There's a line I can get behind wholeheartedly. Vlad will become problematic the longer this game goes. Because we're 30 minutes in, and...
here's the build-up.
Oh, wow.
So it is Knight just trying to take the fight to Nuke Duck here.
Oopsie. Don't really know if that Riftwalk damage actually connected, but yeah, Hemo Plague, it does a lot.
Yeah, and then at the end of it, okay, we saw Knight get away from this. Nuke Duck got blasted out as well. So yeah, it looks like for now, at least, if the damage doesn't always land, like Knight, a little bit of an error perhaps in his placement there. But Nuke Duck is fairly strong.
Oh yes, Spirit Visage, Rylai's completed, currently sitting on 700 gold with the Fiendish Codex and Amp Tome, so continuing to scale up is Nuke Duck. Next Dragon is Mountain Drake. That should be up in about 2 or 3 minutes. Oh, Nuke Duck's deaded. Sunstar just sneaks up. Yeah, I mean, it's like...
It is what it is.
Nuke isn't even overextended. He just gets jumped on because those pink wards in the top quadrant of the jungle
They've already
belong
started.
to Giants. Have been there the whole time.
Yeah, they've been there the whole time. Vitality haven't been able to clear them out. Now Giants will swing around and look for a two-man Baron. Blue Trinket's already gone down. Shook, however, is trying to get in, but Huston's
look at Knight from
zoning him off for
behind.
now.
Knight could look for Kasing. Giants decide to fight. They've peeled over. The barrel from Maxwell's not good, and
Here
double
comes Smitty J.
teleports. Both red and blue spiraling away. Cabo kills.
He cancelled his. And at that point, this is the signal for Giants now to look for the Baron, because yes, they're low health. There is still a risk from this, but with the Jax there, this should die fairly quickly. Vitality, they have a Sivir. Ricochet through the pit could be enough.
Baron, who does it pick up? Shook is dead. Giants should be able to secure this one, and they do. They get a kill, they get the Baron, and they get out.
Giants knew they had enough time before Cabochard arrived to have stopped the Baron damage on 2000, which is well out of smite range for Shook. They then kill Shook, deal with the Baron, and that is everything going over to the Giants.
Just such good communication. Giants peeled away from the first attempt to try and find some kills. When Cabo's TP is cancelled, instant re-engage, instantly kill Shook. Giants are just on the same page as a team and punishing Vitality at nearly every opportunity.
And Vitality haven't really been able to do too much about that. Like every time Vitality have even looked for an objective, they've either been too late or just have not been able to lock down the vision control. Here you can see, look at the Baron health here. They hold it at 2000. Well out of smite range. No real damage is going to burst that through. And from there, Baron, easy pickings once the smite is gone from Vitality. No chance of a fight because Cabochard wasn't there in time either.
Yeah. Cabochard wasn't involved a lot in this game. He got jumped on for first blood. And that's really the most action we've seen out of this Irelia. Now down 40 CS and Baron and Rift Herald, although that was ages ago. Didn't help him at all because he never got to duel anybody.
Yeah, he really has not been able to have his own way in that top side. Knight wants to come in on this. Shook's going.
Shook is going in. Huston's in a little bit of trouble. So it's going to get a little bit of a heal. But look at Police way on the wrong side thanks to a great barrel from Maxlaw. Pillar of Ice is going to slow down Vitality. Kasing is chunked down. Smitty leaps forward, looking for Cabo. Cabo can't find Maxlaw.
He doesn't get him.
That is a triple kill for Smitty J. An inner turret, and Giants may not be done yet.
That could just be the game here. Knight has his teleport available so they can keep the minion wave alive for the inhibitor. They've still got Baron buff, and there's 20 seconds until the wave clear arrives from Vitality. Giants are probably just going to push to win this.
They're onto the Nexus turrets. Giants looking like they want to confirm at least 1 point from this series. Nuketak forced to run away with his life. Giants are onto the Nexus turrets. They are down. The Nexus will be the next target. Vitality have not even respawned. And in 31 minutes, Giants take down Vitality.
Pretty convincing game from Giants again, and these are the kind of games they need these performances in. They need to be able to show they are this much better than the bottom half of the table, because Giants, while they would have been eyeing a potential top half of the table, top third of the table finish, they now have to kind of resolve themselves as get as many points as you can, try and finish in that third, fourth spot, and maybe look to dodge some of the tougher opponents.
Absolutely the case. And, you know, talking about playoffs, talking about the seeding, with Giants picking up the first game, if they 2-0 this series, they are going to be hoping for Schalke to lose later today. Because if that happens, Giants 2-0 and Schalke 0-2, Giants are guaranteed playoffs. Guaranteed top 6 with still game days to play.
That's a great spot to be in for a team that, coming into the split, we were looking at and thinking, well, this is probably a team that's going back down to the bottom of the table.
Yep.
Realistically, when we were doing all of our team prep right at the beginning, that is the general consensus of a lot of people.
Especially with the original few weeks' performances. You know, going back to the beginning of Summer Split, Knight was really the only sort of shining star within the team at that time. But it seems like they've found a rhythm, they've found a level of teamwork that we didn't actually expect right at the beginning of the split.
Yeah, we really didn't expect it. You can just about see the picks and pans on your screen as we fade them in for you. You can see the Jax, the Kassadin, very, very obvious composition coming out of Giants, but they made it work. They got the Kassadin through the early game, got the Jax through the early game as well.
The thing for me is the Irelia last pick and the fact that Shook did not prioritize his time around Cabochard particularly well, especially because when he did attempt to gank, the wave was pushing away. Like, the few times he came up, it was the wrong time.
Did you ever think you'd say Shook wasn't prioritizing Cabo?
No, I did not think that at all.
Normally, that's the story, is like, hey, Shook goes to Cabo, Cabo is able to snowball on a pick like this, take over the game, win the game, great. And Vitality.
That was their key to victory. Yeah. Absolutely their key to victory. We got a replay really quickly of one of the Dragon steals that came in here from Maxlaw and the Giants squad. Get that up on your screen in a moment. And the steal itself is interesting.
Yeah.
But it really was just a good summary of what this whole game was.
Yes.
Giants were in the lead, and it didn't matter what Vitality did. Giants had an answer.
Yeah, just Maxlaw walking up, stealing, getting himself away. And from their Vitality, the rest of the clip as it plays out is them kind of umming and ahhing about whether they want to engage, can't really close the distance. Like, nothing really works for them at that kind of spot in the game.
It didn't.
Vitality just struggled really to get themselves doing anything in this game one.
Yeah, beyond a shadow of a doubt. And again, it continues to happen. You know, we're seeing Vitality not find their footing really at all. And there is now no more time for these mistakes. If Vitality do not come back and pick up a point here, they're basically looking at promotion tournament, considering how some of these other teams are going to be securing points and challenging around them. Vitality still have to play G2 Esports and Schalke next week.
Tough week.
It is a tough week. Luckily for them, Schalke may be in a similar position.
That's true. Schalke is the by far easier game at that point. But Vitality, they can still try and salvage a point perhaps from this matchup, because Sean's going to do everything he can to get his team back on the board.
Yeah, really rattling out the orders. He has to get them on board. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll have game 2 between Vitality and Giants. As we go, Maxlaw tells us why this game is a must-win.
Since Vitality are catching up, it's really important to play against them and win. I think for maybe Smitty's pride, maybe, it would be really good to play Vitality and win, because it's like Smitty and Cabochard are just kind of the same people. Smitty and Cabo both are like, carry top lane, you know, and they always have the lucky a jungler phrase, you know. And I mean, Smitty has that phrase. I mean, Cabo probably has it in French somewhere, but it's just, it'll be funny.